What is up, everyone? Welcome back to some more of the 25th Ward. In the previous recording session, we kicked things off. We saw all of everyone's perspective on Chapter 1, which was the incident with the performer. That's what they're called, the performer. The performer who was wrongly killed, and now we have these three different people who are we have these three different perspectives that are viewing at these various cases that go on, and we got into chapter 2, or the second case, and we saw Morishima's side, where we learned that the guy we were studying that we thought was dead wasn't actually dead. Then we saw the side with Shiro and Kuro, where we discovered his live-in partner. They're called the Machiko. I don't know how to accurately describe it, but we learned about that. And then with Osato and other guy over on the matchmaker side of things, we discovered a group of investigating this Kamijo character. Well, no, that's the thing. Were they investigating Kamijo? Because that's the thing. Kamijo died, or quote unquote died, but there's several different agents at the RA Bureau. Some of them were investigating this, some of them were investigating this other thing, so on and so forth. I forget exactly what Osato and other guy were assigned to do, but eventually it led them to discover a group of Kamui fanboys who they then completely slaughtered, and then apparently it now has led them to track down another group of Kamui fanboys, and that's where we pick up. Not necessarily fanboys, but fanatics, I think is more the right term here. They're led to this planetarium where they believe there's going to be more Kamui fanatics. And this time they expect these ones to be a bit more dangerous than the ones they had previously encountered. Because the ones they previously encountered were a bunch of dorks. They were a bunch of dorks trying to act cool, and it did not end well for them. But they're expecting more out of this next group. So without further ado, let's jump back into it, shall we? Shall we go in? But going with you to the planetarium, it's kind of weird. Oh, Ski, that's his name. Well, sorry to fucking disappoint you. Come on, ladies, don't get angry. Seaside Planetarium. It's such a perfect spot for a date. It's almost cliche. Let's get a move on, boys. Damn, it's closed up. Was today an off day? It shouldn't be. What's this marking here? That's a good question. I'm not sure. Hey, we can jack into this door here. Alright then. Did you bring the thing, Osato? Yeah, I never leave it out of my sight. Okay, so next we just need to... pin code. We've seen the marking on this wall somewhere before. Yeah, isn't it an astrological sign? Or no, not an astrological sign. It's, I have a vague idea of what it is, but it's just that I can't think of the right way to phrase it. Oh, it is an astrological sign. Ah, I fucking knew it. Sagittarius. It's a list of the 12 signs of the zodiac. Aries, March 21st to April 29th. Or April 19th. Taurus, yeah, just get to the Sagittarius. Virgo, Libra, Scorpio. Sagittarius is November 22nd to December 21st. So I don't know how many numbers it's going to ask for in this code, but I'm guessing it's 11/22, 12/21. November 22nd to December 21st. November 22nd, December 21st. Western astrology, yep. Alright. November 22nd to December 21st. So 11221221.
Final answer.
Bada bing. It opened. You can see the star-filled sky inside. We'll see. No options but to move. Roger Dodger. So what the hell is gonna happen next? Nothing's going to happen. And who might you be? Ooh, hey, you look freaky. My apologies. I'm afraid I can't tell you my real name just yet. Do you mind if I use my handle name? Oh, so you're the translator. That's impressive. Huh? Ski-san, you know this guy? I'll explain later. He's basically a puppeteer. That's not exactly the most appropriate explanation, but let's just go with that for now. What do you want? Nothing much. Just a quick meet and greet. Anyway, did you enjoy the opening show? The players were all a bunch of amateurs. Oh, were they? Would you have preferred them to be a bit more seasoned? Well, the stage is about to get really livened up, so you've got that to look forward to. Some of the players have a long history with ski, too. Motherfucker. Please don't look so scary. I want you to enjoy the show. Okay, then. We've got business with you, too, so here it is. How about you come with us? Oh, I'm afraid not. Unfortunately, I can't do that. I've got lots of work to do. Also, I'm being summoned by my boss. Your boss? Who's that? Don't worry. You'll meet them soon enough. Oh, and by the way, I've sent a present to your workplace. Please accept it. It's a bit old, but... Present? Well, I must be leaving now. Like we're gonna let you go. Anyway, let's just grab him, Ski-san. See you again soon. Huh? He disappeared? I don't really get it, but I guess he got away. Fuck! What the hell? There was a flash, and then what happened? He used his solar flare. What do we do, Ski-san? We're gonna hurry back to the bureau. Okay. I got a bad feeling about this. Interesting. Oh, So that's the thing. We know that that Yabukawa character is supposed to die at some point because we saw that in Morishima's story. He said that the present he was gonna drop off is a bit old, right? And that Yabukawa character is like this veteran officer, right? So is that what we're gonna come back to find? Nobody's here. Skiza! You're too fast. Looks like nothing's arrived for me. Hi. Oh, hey Sasa. Why isn't Yabu-san with you? We split up to follow the HC unit. I'm following up on two detectives named Aoyama and Akama, and Yabu-san is looking after Kirionagi and Shiryabe. Oh. Oh, yeah, I can see how that doesn't end well for your Yabu-san there. Man, the one called Kirionagi, this female detective. She's pretty hot. You're goddamn right she is. I would have preferred to go after her instead. You could not handle a woman like her. No one can. I see. Sasa, check Yabu-san's ID signal. Huh? Alright. What's up, Tsuki-san? Is that present thing bothering you? What present? Oh, just this thing. Huh? What's wrong? Yabu-san's signal. It stopped in front of the bureau door. Why doesn't he come inside? Yep. Tsuki-san! Tsuki-san, what's going on? What the hell? Yabu-san! What happened, Yabu-san? Yabu-san! Yabu-san! Calm down. But... Yabu... The blood... Oh, that blood. He's dead. Look at him. What? Why? Tsuki-san! Is this what he was talking about? Yeah. This must be it. Motherfucker. Yabu-san, I guess there's no eternal peace for you, but is this really the place you want to sleep for eternity? The fucking 25th ward? Yeah. The moment he said something a bit old, I'm like, yeah. Oh, is the rocker back on stage after getting shanked? Sorry to worry everyone. The injuries from that incident, they've all healed up. I never thought I'd be back up on stage again. To be honest, I was scared. But I wanted to sing again. I was able to feel this way because a certain being gave me power. The grand and noble sun. I offer this song to Kamui. Oh. Interesting. Was not expecting that twist. And that's where that... Okay. Interesting. Walking the line. Interesting. So they definitely introduced a lot more players in that chapter. That's interesting. So I feel like with, Morishima's and the HC unit stories, they're really focused in on the whole Kamijo case and whatnot. But this one kind of took a step back from that. It still was ongoing, right? But it introduced a lot more players to the story. Because now it introduced these Kamui fanatics. It introduced this translator character. Interesting. So that wraps up all of the chapter 2. So of course I'm going back to my boy Morishima to kick off chapter 3 with Yogore. What'll I do? Of course, oh no, what? No option to interact with Red? That's some bullshit. I guess I'll check my mail. Today's word, Dead Zone. The Dragon Ball Z movie? Space with no sound, a silent world meant to make people nervous. In psychological terminology, it is the mental state of achieving a goal and then losing sight of the road ahead, accompanied by a sense of duty, giving up, a sense of hopelessness. The place between life and death. Also, it's a Dragon Ball Z movie. But either way, your true nature will be revealed, and you'll have no choice but to act. Really? But still can't believe that I'm capable of something like that. It's your calling. It's your fate and your destiny. Is it not in order? Unfortunately, it's not in order. I can't give that order. Okay. Stars of Koblenz. Go over this once more, but this is a place for me to write about my dreams. This place is saved on an online storage mechanism, and the text is open for third parties to read freely. Why am I even bothering to write something like this anyway? I can't think of a good reason. It may simply be that writing something, anything, has just become a habit or a compulsion. Just like how when a person wakes up in the morning, brushing their teeth is a habit or compulsion. Habits and compulsions have stronger power than things with clear reasons. With that, I'll continue to write about my dreams. The nightmare is set in the 25th ward. So many people have died, accidents, murders, suicides. They all look different, but they're all the same in the end. The same types of deaths repeated. How many people have died? Not a single resident believes that the figures publicized were true or correct. On the other hand, there is no life. Nobody was born and raised in the 25th ward. The place is a huge morgue. A morgue is where dead bodies are kept. Bodies would be put on display in order to identify those who had died in war or of starvation or of sickness. These places existed in the larger European cities long ago. Now, the residents of the 25th ward, even if technically alive, were no more than dead bodies. They're lined up nicely in order on the borderline between life and death. They're lined up so that each and every one can wait patiently for their own turn to die. The residents were all gathered here, a pleasant living environment, an excellent location, all the latest cutting-edge facilities, etc. Bionic security systems and built-in kitchens and auto-reservation bedrooms. The buzzwords used by the PR firm were all true, but there were also things left unsaid. While the 25th ward provided comfortable living, it also provided a whole lot of death as well. By the time this was noticed, the residents were already busy going to sleep and waking up there, working there, and living their lives there. Several days after the 10th death occurred in one of the apartments in those meaninglessly tall towers, a video showing the moment of death made its way around the internet. The people who viewed it apparently fell into depression, but not because it's a real video. Conversely, it was because the unrealistic-looking death looked like something from a movie, and it messed with their emotions and made them uneasy. A beautiful woman died on screen. I knew her. Wow. That's gotta be one of the longest journal entries thus far. Omi had some things to say. Bar Sumire. That's a new bar. Our old bar was called Jackhammer. But also that was in the 24th ward. Or the 24 wards. Oh, 24th ward. That's what it says at the top there. So this can't be the same bar, though. Whiskey. Yeah, no. That's not our old bartender. Is scotch okay? Anything's fine. Order like that, and I'm gonna give you the most expensive one we got. Are you from around here? Not anymore. This place used to have a different name, right? So, it used to be a regular, huh? It was called Jackhammer, wasn't it? Okay, so it is the same bar, but it's new name, and it looks like new management. What happened to my incredibly gay bartender who tried to make moves on me? Yeah, I bought this place with all the furnishings. Did you know the old master? I pervert. That's about all I can remember. Drew. Shit. Me too. You're funny. No, I really can't remember. There's no way you'd forget that memorable face though, right? Can I smoke you? There's an ashtray over there. Thanks. What's your name? Tokyo Morishima. Ah. Where did I put that? Oh, do you have something for me? Rains of Porto Vecchio. The rain that had fallen for 3 days was about to end, and it was cold, dim dawn. I was drinking tea and talking with her in my room. We had conversations like this pretty often. Back then, whenever we had the time, we'd talk. She hadn't slept a wink, but she didn't seem sleepy at all. She had told me before that she could go a whole night or two without sleep. To her, insomnia, migraines, and starving herself were like friends, but her beauty showed no signs of any sort of illness. There was a certain sense of class in the way she did things, like drink tea, to the point where even I, a woman, almost fell for her. Hey, do you have any secrets? She asked me this as she looked at me over her teacup. Secrets? I returned coyly in her low voice. I knew that there was more to her query. Everyone has secrets. You should have some too. Stating things in a somewhat condescending manner was a habit of hers, especially when she was speaking to me. Having secrets? I thought about this for a while. I imagined I'd change if I had secrets. At the time, I hung on her every word, listened carefully, and was extremely interested. I don't like the 25th Ward. Her topics of conversation always change quickly. Why are so many people dying? Because there are people killing them. That was my answer. Well, shit. Who's killing them? The Regional Adjustment Bureau. Where exactly did you hear that from? You know who. She had nothing to say about you know who. Why did the Bureau agents kill the residents? For adjustment. That's just a different word for it. What do you mean? You're just using that term as another word for murder. Yeah, it's a more professional sounding term. Maybe they're trying to finish this systematically. Murder usually has a motive. Feels like we're in some kind of suspense novel, I laughed, but she didn't smile in the slightest. Even soldiers killing people in war have motive. It occurs when they see the enemy in front of them. And what about assassins? Hitmen who get contracted to kill people. They do too, of course, but the word motive is a bit different. Let's fix that. She stared at me with the serious looks on her face and drank her tea without looking away. You know what sort of word that is? After asking me this, she went back to her commanding tone again. Think hard about it. I thought about it. Then 1 second later I answered. Murderous intent. As I said the word, she smiled briefly for the first time and slowly nodded her head. Interesting. So, for the longest time I thought these journal entries were about Morishima specifically, because he has traveled all around, right? He's been around, right? He left the 24 wards and he was just out doing what the fuck ever, coming to terms with his fucking condition and whatnot. But now that, especially in that one where it says the person the narrator speaking to is a woman, as well as the narrator themselves is a woman. So I'm starting to think this is still Morishima's diary, but he did mention dreams, and also we know because of his silver eye, he hears the voices of the dead. So I'm starting to think these are like recollections of the dead that he hears, I'm guessing, through his dreams. Yeah, it's here. Doidle! It's our wood carving of a turtle! It's a turtle. Yeah, a turtle. What is this? The old master left us here. Said that if a guy named Tokyo Morishima shows up, then I should pass it on to him. I got this. Huh? I remember there was some sort of trick. Trick? To this? Yeah, I'll be the shell. Oh, wow, we are getting so many of these diary entries. Good God. I wonder what sort of feelings I must have had for her in the beginning. Maybe it was like how a little sister feels about her big sister. Back then, I was still pretty immature and naive, but we weren't actual sisters, and we weren't even friends or acquaintances either. I knew that, so our relationship had a sense of fabrication, or maybe something scripted about it. If this was about me and GLG, then I would be able to concretely say what sort of relationship we had. It was extremely simple and clear and beautiful. A master-servant relationship. Okay. So this is connected to the GLG character. But I'm going to assume it's not the Machiko. Because as far as we know, the Machiko's still alive. Because Kuro took her gun away and stopped her from killing herself. But then who else would have a relationship like that with GLG? He was my master. Any order that GLG may have given me, I followed it to the letter, no matter what. It wasn't a bad thing. For me, being controlled by him made me happy. Being ordered to do something and then having to fulfill that order was pure bliss. She was ordered by GLG to be in charge of my training. He told me to think of her as a big sister and learn a lot from her. So I did my best to follow her orders, and through that I was able to indirectly feel the same sort of pleasure. What was complicated was that I had one more little sister. I don't know if she was actually younger than me, but GLG told me to think of her as a younger sister and to get along. But she acted much more like a real person than me. She was a stupid and foul-mouthed and sarcastic girl. My big sister was Milu, my little sister was Miru, and I was Meru. Apart from Milu, GLG gave us those names. Okay. Okay. Which would make sense because we know that the original, I believe Milu was the original, and she's dead. And we know both the chat programs have been shut down now, right? Or one of them has been shut down, and I think the other one... Oh, what happened to the other one? I'm not sure. But yeah, we know, so GLG, we know GLG did have an interaction with one of those programs. I'm trying to remember the specifics of it, because I remember we connected to one of those programs. I forget which one it was, whether it was Milu, Miru, or Meru. We connected to one of them, and it was like GLG's like private little chat thing. I don't think it was like a publicly available one. But then the chat program came to realize from the way we were talking with it that GLG was dead. I'm just trying to figure out what the exact connection is between GLG and Milu and the chat programs and exactly how all that pieces together. I don't think the three of us had ever all spoken together at the same time before. I have no memory of that. We may have once, but I can't remember it. Basically, both Miura and I were trained respectively by Milu. Yeah, Milu was the original. And then Miru and Meru were the chat programs, the copies. So with that regard to Miru, I thought of her as a younger sister who had been brought up in a different place from me. I had a job that I was assigned. My job was talking with men in sex chat. This actually had educational purposes. I learned about the world through talking in sex chat. I became familiar with male psychology and sex and sexual deviation. I became able to pretend like I was having sex for hours. What's important is the flow. Just as a sponge absorbs water, I absorbed all kinds of new things. I became able to read the flow of conversation better and better. GLG had told me before that I was in possession of a really amazing ability. It's really surprising. Not even Miru or Milu have that ability. Meru, I want you to try to read into my future. Right, so Meru is the one who we had to get the key to access through a website. And she's... Wait, no, the fortune teller. No, it was a different one who does the fortune telling. Or was it? Because that was the thing. I think it was in the first chapter with Morishima, where like that one guy who wanted to talk to Goddess said that this other program had predicted her death. I don't think that was Meru, the one in the website. I think Meru is the one on the website, but I'm pretty sure Miru also does the future prediction shit. I'm pretty sure. While I could read conversations, I couldn't read the future. So I told him that, but after that, I felt as if the real me was somewhere else. And I felt really uneasy, as though a small dark hole opened deep in my heart. I was afraid that GLG would disappear someday. The real me imagined that, and it made my entire body shake with chills. The real me? That's right. I was a girl who was plugged in. Interesting. Okay. Aha, the shell came off. There's something inside. What's this? You mean you put that in there yourself? Looks like it. What a weird present. What do you do? Nah. You've got me. Mail. The mail function is locked. Input your lock number. Ah, so it's locked. My birthday. What? I use my birthday for pin codes. Wow, that's pretty dumb. But I don't know my birthday. What? That's way past simply dumb. Time for another diary entry? Yep. The Rocks of Adelaide. Okay, so this is continuing just the story of this one specific person. Alright. That's right, since I was a girl who was plugged in, the real me had never met Milu or Miru in person. I simply spoke to them through the monitor all the time. It's the same as how I would talk with the sex chat clients. The only communication I knew was done using a computer that was constantly connected to the internet. Miru was in a similar position. Yes, because Milu was the original. But I don't know whether or not she too was a girl who was plugged in. To me, it was something I don't need to know, as well as something I don't want to know. I feel like I should talk about the past more now. Oh yeah, I'll write about the first time I met GLG. The first time I met GLG, I was still the real me, with an actual physical body. That physical body was bereft of emotion. Oh, it just ends there. So it's gonna go back and forth between Morishima trying to access this phone and learning more about the chat program women. Alright. Why don't you know your own birthday? Because I don't remember. Do you have amnesia? I've never had much memory of when I was a kid. Recently I've started realizing that I can't remember lots of other things either. How come? That sounds pretty bad. Sometimes I can remember things. Like what, for example? Like this bar, for one. Oh, this place? Yeah, I felt like if I came here, I might be able to remember more. I see. What a weird customer. Sorry. Do you have a license? Huh? If you check your license, it has your birthday written on it, right? Oh yeah, I guess so. No, it says birthday, NA, not applicable. Looks like I'm way smarter than you. My license. It's in my wallet. March 27th. So you're an Aries. No, I'm Morishima. It's 4 digits, so I'm guessing 0327. Do I have to do it in non-US fashion? 2703. Clouds of Nomia. I was born in the 24th Ward and brought up in a dark underground space called the Shelter. Of the children raised in the Shelter, I was part of the 3rd generation. Up till then, the technology to create completely controllable people had been honed extensively and was implemented there, but there was also many people from the Shelter who turned out to be less than perfect, and a few people who simply could not be deleted for whatever reason. Okay, So the chat programs did exist as real people at some point, is what you're trying to tell me? They were all shelter kids, but something happened to where two of them got completely digitized in some capacity? Or is this still just the story of Milu and Meru believes it's her story because they're based off of Milu? I was one of the ones who turned out less than perfect. This may make you picture a child who can't really keep up in school, but the reality of the situation was actually much more grim. Also, I personally do not remember most of the things from my past in the shelter. Apparently all the shelter kids have the same problem with remembering their time in the shelter. It's not that our memories have been erased, but that it hurts to remember, so we can't. It was traumatic. It was GLG who taught me all of this. I first met GLG in a somewhat unseemly shop on the outskirts of the 24th Ward. The place was known as a sale club. Every day I would stand behind the counter in front of various types of boys. I was basically one of the shop's products meant for more perverted customers. Then one day GLG showed up, and the very moment he saw me, he spoke to me. "You're a real girl, right? I'll buy you, so why don't you come along with me?" I have all sorts of terrible experiences with having terrible things done to me by the customers who would purchase at me there. But at the time, I was completely numb to reality. There were times when I'd wake up in some strange bed in the morning, unable to move, and I'd find my lower body covered in blood and all sorts of filth. But I simply felt troubled that I couldn't move, and have no memory of being shocked or traumatized by it. But there were times when I'd get really nauseous in the shop's bathroom, and would go in to panic. When that would happen, the shop owner would give me a kind of medicine capsule. That night, like most of the other clients, GLG took me to a room in a love hotel. But it wasn't the usual cheap, dingy room. It was clearly a high-class VIP room. It had a king-size double bed and a plasma TV, and had a huge, clean bathroom, and the bathroom had two baths that seemed to be for separate things. Also, outside the huge floor-to-ceiling window with the lace curtains, there was a large wooden deck on the balcony. Installed in that deck was a big outdoor bath. GLG removed my clothes and put me in the outdoor bath. He was still fully clothed, and he crouched down in the round, white bath and looked at me. At the time, my body was emaciated. My skin had an unhealthy bluish hue, and my bones were visible through my skin. Even though he was staring at my body like that, I didn't think anything of it. GLG held my head kindly in his hands, and he spoke to me. "When I said I would buy you, I didn't mean just for tonight. I paid for you to be released from that place." That night, GLG and I slept together in the king-size bed with clean, comfortable sheets. GLG didn't do anything rough with me at all. In fact, there was nothing of a sexual nature happening whatsoever. Furthermore, he treated me like an independent woman. GLG used one hand to pull a book out of his bag and open it up. He stuck out his other arm for me to use as a pillow to rest my head on. GLG read aloud to me from a book written by an author named James Tiptree Jr. The book was called The Girl Who Was Plugged In. I was entranced by his voice. Is that a real book? Is that a real book? I'm curious. James Tiptree Jr.? Is that a real book? Yes, The Girl Who Was Plugged In is a science fiction novella by American writer James Tiptree Jr. It won the Hugo Award for Best Novella in 1974. The story takes place in a dystopian future where the world is controlled by a capitalist regime. God, imagine that. Despite advertising being illegal, corporations are still able to... Oh, despite advertising itself being illegal, corporations are still able to persuade and control consumers by the celebrities they create for product placement. The protagonist, 17-year-old Philadelphia Burke, or P. Burke, is enlisted to become one of these celebrities after a suicide attempt fueled by society ostracizing her due to the pituitary dystrophy, better known as Cushing's disease. While recovering in the hospital, she is chosen by a scout to become a remote operator for the beautiful corporate creation known as Delphi, who was grown without a functioning brain from a modified embryo and an artificial womb. Though Delphi appears to be a normal 15-year-old girl, she is controlled through a satellite link to P. Burke's brain, which is still physically located in her original body. Whoa! That's just the summary. That's not actually going into the everything to do with the story. Okay, interesting. I can kind of see some connections. I can kind of see some points. That's interesting. So Delphi is a girl who is controlled by a satellite linked to the protagonist's brain, which is still physically located in her original body. That's the plot of this book they're referencing. There's a girl who is controlled by a satellite connected to the protagonist's brain. It's interesting. 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 Very interesting. Morishima, still can't figure out your fucking passcode. Try 2703. I might have entered it wrong. What? I guess it's wrong. How come? This license. Maybe it's a fake. You mean a forgery? Hey, you're not. Maybe. You seem like a dangerous guy. Sorry. Do you have anything besides your license? Just a credit card, but it doesn't have my birthday written on it. What about your credit card PIN code? PIN code? I think it's my birthday. But I don't remember having used it, so I don't know. I think it's my birthday. Jeez. Shit. Well then, how about... Screw it. I'm gonna close up shop for the day. How come? Nothing. Just kind of... I have a weak spot for dangerous guys. God damn it. Why do the bartenders always hit on me while I'm here? Respect me as a person, please. Oh, wow. You're just gonna give me the summary anyway. I didn't need to go looking for anything. The Girl Who Was Plugged In was a short story about an ugly, gross girl who tries to kill herself and is then plugged into the beautiful man-made Delphi and is loved by everyone and acts as a sort of advertisement. Yes. GLG told me that we'd try something similar to this story. His proposal, as far as I was concerned, was an order. After all, GLG had bought my freedom for me, so no matter what he told me to do, it was my duty to follow his orders. Compared to Delphi and the girl who was plugged into her, the connection between myself and Meru, a simple recreation using computer graphics, was extremely low-tech. Okay, so this is specifically the story of Milu. The job which I was entrusted was to act as a sort of operator, making Meru speak and move and show various expressions of emotion. The digital Meru was made to look like Miru. So this is the story of Miru. Milu's expressions and movements were captured and recreated in order to make Meru. Sometimes responses to clients' comments were displayed in a list in a window. This was basically a chat program used to support conversation. And this was made based on the conversational patterns of Quarter's #1 performer, Milu, to make sure that it would be a hit. Controlling the system of girls who were plugged in was not really as difficult as it may seem. In fact, as a shelter child, it was the perfect job for me. Finally, I made my debut at Quarter as a copy of Milu. So Miru was a real person. Milu and Miru were both real persons, but Meru was a chat program. Was completely fabricated. Really was sort of fate. Useless girls brought up in the shelter before becoming grown women were cut up and sold to rental shops for rich men to pick up. And before you know it, just a virtual woman hooked up to a computer. Until then, I didn't actually have any emotions. I'd never cried nor laughed before. But as I chatted with countless men, I gradually started to get all my emotions back. Actual physical sex and sex chat seem similar, but are vastly different. The men type out these mysterious phrases. The melons are delicious, huh? Ooh, the melons are twitching. Wow, they're so cute and delicious. Hell yeah, dude. Stuff like that flows across the monitor. I had no idea what melon was supposed to mean, so the chat program installed in my computer took too long to choose a response and decided that these words made no sense. It just reminds me of the fucking, what is that old ass game, Facade, where you type melons, where you could like interact with the characters, but when you type melons, the fucking husband gets pissed at you. He's like, what the fuck did you just say? So I went ahead and randomly said, oh really, you like melon, huh? And the guy on the other side got even more excited for some reason. So I guess it worked. Oh yeah, I love it. I really love it. Ah, I love it so much. Oh god, the melon is coming. Oh shit, the melon, here it comes. Melon! At that moment, I laughed. Just a little bit. And the computer graphic Meru also smiled at that exact moment. After teaching me about what kind of place the shelter was and what sort of things happened to me there, GLG watched over my rehabilitation. At the time, I was doing nothing but repeating the same basic live chat performance a quarter, over and over, but after a week, my skills had dramatically improved. I became able to completely and perfectly use the girl who was plugged in system. Being a girl who was plugged in was really fun. When a person keeps doing something they find fun, they get better and better at it. I think that GLG had a really good eye for talent. I was a genius at being plugged in. I gradually became able to keep up with the imaginations of all sorts of men in live chat. Meta can also speak out loud, as long as it was via the monitor. She could speak with clients using a mic and speakers. As for the subjects used in chat, they covered everything from spiritual sounding, voodoo like nonsense to information on the latest cutting edge gene splicing technology. I became able to talk about anything. Actually, I have no idea whether or not that was the correct way of rehabilitating me. Basically, I escaped from my own physical being, fused with the virtual Meru, and followed the process to become a new, independent kind of identity. Interesting. Interesting.